Welcome into another edition of Kolby's Corners Live, coming to you here from an empty, which matches pretty much the stadium for most of the game, Lane Stadium, Worsham Field in Blacksburg, Virginia, where Virginia Tech fell 45-26 to the in-state rival, the Old Dominion Monarchs. 2018, going down to Norfolk, losing to Old Dominion, it's top 15 ranked team. That felt pretty bad for the team. 2022, the start of Pry, losing to Norfolk in your first game. Still tough, but you could see, like he had a post-game comment about building strides towards something that can sort of get written off. A roster that you couldn't really build the start of the Pry tenure. But now in year 4, after dropping back-to-back games to start a season, SEC opponents with or without, and then to come in and have 6 quarters of pretty much unmounted football, 28-0 at half to Old Dominion, taking nothing away from the Monarchs. I looked back at my 4 takeaways from last week against Vanderbilt, which on this live, it sort of maybe even came on here, was a little bit too dramatic about burning and the world's on fire, but you sort of saw what it was building for. I talked about how dynamic of a player Colton Joseph, how good this Old Dominion football team is. It's not someone that you can just go out talent, let alone out effort. And that was evident. Still gathering thoughts here. But, I mean, just a force. Ricky Ronnie had a better coach, better effort, better built roster. Overall, stick a fork in it. You really just perplexing. There's so many levels for so many things over the last couple of days coming out of the Vanderbilt game. And this was sort of the what if, like, if this result goes this way, and you even had people sort of half laughing about it. I thought about the start of last week. I went on a local podcast with James Catato from Wavy. I even talked about it, I think, on the last live. And I went on there and I said, this is a game that Old Dominion can realistically win. I didn't think they'd come out here and just dog walk Virginia Tech again. And it goes back to the defense. And like I said, I mean this with the utmost respect. And obviously this is very harsh, direct comments, but it's tough when you go and you talk to a Tyson Flowers. We had a great Kolby's Corners episode over the summer. You go and talk with him, and he's obviously distraught after the loss. He's upset, and he's like, the coaches do their jobs. We have to do our jobs as players, but that defense just has not come around, and it's been a real struggle for them. It's been a real struggle, just on all facets, and you have to be able to stop the bleed. And people look at this as a get-back game, and Ricky Ronnie came out here and had his team ready. Virginia Tech was not prepared. I know the final score looks a little bit closer than it was, but it was another tale of blunders, self-inflicted errors with penalties. I know there was inexperience along the offensive line, but the offense couldn't get in rhythm. They weren't in phase on nearly any unit. You look at special teams, probably could have had a couple punts blocked. ODU's had done actually really well on special teams. They blocked a couple punts last week, and they almost probably should have taken advantage of that. Tech on different operations with the false start on the punt, or the delay of game, taking balls out of the end zone. Now you did have the onside kick, which just got a stat from DSAL that the last onside kick was in the Military Bowl, also recovered by Will Johnson. But I think apathy was the biggest fear. And when I go out into the crowd, obviously I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, had a contingent of family here. And it was sort of like, oh, yeah, we're going to win, like they're rooting for Old Dominion, them, obviously. And they were sitting in that section, and there was an overwhelming feeling that they were going to win the game, obviously. And the Tech crowd was just apathy. I mean, I got text from players' parents. I got text from people I haven't heard from. And this goes all the way up. Yeah, it goes all the way up. Past Sands, past everyone. And it's going to be messy. It's I don't know what they're going to have to do after this. Like I said, don't really have clear thoughts as I'm sort of jumping into this only 5 minutes in. But the timeline, I said it in my instant thoughts takeaway, you have to have alignment right now. You really have to have alignment. And I don't know if you could premeditate or make it so there's worse alignment at all levels. I mean, the board, the governor race in November, the president of the university, the athletic director, obviously the head football coach, the roster of the football team, trying to keep that intact with everything that's up in the air. Talking to players as parents as I'm going in, talking to players as I'm going in. No one knows what's going on, getting text calls. It's just, but you're taking strides. And like I said at the last one, there's a lot of people that will get caught up in this that aren't making millions of dollars. So I want to have respect for everyone, but this is a performance-based deal, and you have to build out your staff and have alignment. You have to have a general manager who's done it at a high level. You have to have a chief of staff who's done it at a high level, seen some things. Loyalty is such a great trait. I mean, a lot will come out. I'd just say go over to vtscoop.com because whatever happens, there will be stories and anecdotes and things that will trickle out on different things that have been wrong for multiple seasons now. I'm still rather young, but there's some things where you just see some things as you learn and you sort of pick up on more things as you've just been around and you hear what is going on in other places. You see what's going on in other places that are having success. And it happens. There's not one mold to follow, but there's some certain qualities and traits and people and things that are getting done where you just sort of go, huh, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? But you can't talk about it until it all goes up. And I don't know if it's all going to go up, when, timeline, how, but did themselves no favors tonight. It was broadcast everywhere. Everyone knows the situation. We'll see. I would say tune into vtscoop.com. Doug Bowman, I know, is going to have a lot this week. Evan's going to have a lot this week. All have some stuff this week. Just a lot of stuff. And another just poor performance in Lane Stadium from the Virginia Tech Hokies. A lot was made of, are the students going to show up? What's the situation going to be? Here's D-Cell right here. Shout out the stat guy. But yeah, a lot was made, obviously, about the students. Are they going to come for Old Dominion? I thought they came out in droves. I thought they did their part. Now, maybe they just came to go jump to Enter Sandman. But, yeah, I don't know. Brain's kind of in a blender, but just going with that. Wofford, noon kick. Man, haven't even talked about the recruiting aspect. I know the high school class was already ranked 85th or wherever it was. Immediate feedback from there is, I mean, as expected. If you don't perform like this and not expect to get decommitments, but it's going to get really ugly because you had some core guys in that class. You had some pipelines in the state of Virginia with different high school coaches that are getting either really tested and strained down to the end of the rope, or they're already all burned up. So that's still the lifeblood of college football. Honestly, there's no more prep I could have done. It's just you're kind of speechless because a lot of the things that you thought could happen, like you looked at the last game, if they come out on the defense and they honestly just played like they did in the second half, you're going to lose to a good Old Dominion football team. And they did. I have some other thoughts I'm sure I'll get together, but let's see what we got in the live chat. Is there a reason to keep going? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, let's throw some perspective. I have my Yaya texting me right now. She's listening to me. There's a lot more to it. I know, it's a really big deal for everyone. I know everyone's a college football fan, but at the end of the day, it is football. There's real people who are going to have to answer and foot the bill for this, and it's tough, but it's a performance-based job. I think as bad as it is, this is a very, very bottom moment for the program, and it can get worse. I'm of the belief. I mean, obviously everyone deserves grace, and just want to keep echoing that. Before everyone, me before anyone else deserves grace, but just in general, with all due respect to everyone, but yeah, I mean, it can get worse. The season could go much worse, but you can only hope that this will be the catalyst for the upheaval and changes that I've honestly been overdue for probably close to 15 years now. So, kind of spitball. Did anyone ask Pry about drones and playing another quarterback? If not, why not? It was a rather quick press conference media availability. Got a couple questions. It only ran about 7 minutes with the opening statement. He was asked on pressure. Does he feel like he's the right guy for the job? He says he's made strides and that people don't see those strides and the groundwork they've laid. 16-23. Now 2 losses to ODU, 2 losses to Vanderbilt, 2 losses to Rutgers. He said he didn't expect this outcome. I mean, you go out and you get punched in the face 28-0. Talked to Tyson Flowers. He said the locker room's still all bought in. There's not a lack of effort or cohesion, and that the captains will get on them tomorrow and get right. But, I mean, you just saw what you did against Vanderbilt. You had a full week. Yeah. I wish I had more to offer right now, but you still got to bite the tongue on some things because obviously things are still in the air. I mean, a week ago I would have told you nothing's really imminent. As of right now, I would still say, I mean, their hands are really tied. This situation cannot be any worse timing for anyone involved, and it's at the hands of those same people that are going to have to be held accountable that they're in this situation and this timing. Put the university, put the department, program, aside from them in a really tough spot. I mean, those missteps, obviously they're paying for it on the field, and they will eventually pay for it because it is a performance-based job. We'll see what shakes. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the fact that players get a transfer portal window open for them midseason? I mean, I think that's totally fair. You go to commit to a coach in a program that pitches you one thing, and they don't hold up their end of the deal. I know this pendulum's maybe swung a little bit too far back to throwing power in the laps of players, but at the same time, recruiting is like being a used car salesman. And if that pitch isn't upheld, and you have a lot of really talented players that have never seen the field here for Virginia Tech, and they have opportunities in suitors and places that will pay a pretty penny and give them the opportunity. So I think that's fair. I think it's one of the best instances for the transfer portal. Because if you go to commit to a head coach, I mean, there's a clip out there when I talk like that. That's why I'm talking to Tyson Flowers after the game. I asked him, I was like, in our interview over the summer, you said how much it meant to commit to Coach Pry, commit to the staff, and why in like an era where that seems so futile and unimportant. And he said it's tough. Like, and he just brought it back to it's on the players. Like the coaches aren't out there making tackles. They're not out there in the gaps, and it's like you can tell. I would say that's a more rare felt sentiment overall by a lot of players in this day and age. But on terms of the transfer portal window, I think that's fair. I know people are talking about if things do move quickly, you have the red shirt and you'll have the more situation that you saw at NC State sort of pack in the season early. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team who really love Virginia Tech through and through, but it is a different era. BT quit. Our guys have no confidence in their coaches. There's no way ODU is better position by position. I mean, like the gap is tightening. I mean, this is a really good football program. I think they're going to have a really good chance in the Sun Belt. I know James is really good, but I mean, this is an ODU team that was picked fifth. Colton Joseph is every bit of a power 4, power 2 level quarterback. And I was trying to beat that drum last year. They're really stingy on defense against all opponents in the red zone, and that showed again today. They operate well on special teams, kicker making a 50-yard field goal. And Tech didn't come out and execute. I think there definitely was an effort issue involved, but like, don't take anything away from Old Dominion. But I think Virginia Tech definitely did have the overall talent advantage, but that's still a good squad on the other side. And if you come out flat, and I know people were like, well, they didn't come out flat last week. If you can't say they didn't come out flat and you get down in the 28-0 hole, I don't know. I think that's pretty flat. So, yeah. We need to spend more money. No reason the budget should be 14th in the ACC. I know this is going to fall on deaf ears to a lot of fans on the message board where we have to spend more money to go and compete and beat an ODU. We have to, however much money, I think it's $400,000 or $600,000 for them to come here and play, and you lose. So I know that sort of tapping the donor base from the same administration is definitely going to fall on some deaf ears. The funding isn't where it needs to be. I know changes are trying to be made, obviously, in the board right now and among different things, but yeah. Can't say completely rock bottom, but not happy here in Columbia either. Yeah, Jake, that was a tough one. Diego Pavia is a good player. Lenore's getting banged up. I know Shane. I saw his halftime interview with Cubic. Gonna have to rewatch that one. But a big win for Vanderbilt. And honestly, I think probably a good just gauge for where Virginia Tech was. Common opponent between the two of them. So, yeah. You're right. Yeah. At the general manager position, when you see where things are succeeding at other places, whatever happens with Pry, a lot will be made of his first coordinator hires and his back end staff employees, or I guess chief of staff, ops, a lot of those guys. He's been pretty committed and devoted to them until he was pretty much squeezed or they left him. And in some cases, it'll be the reason why he's driven into the ground, because that's burned up a lot of relationships that I don't even know people understand. A lot of people have been rubbed the wrong way by certain people on the staff that Pry is kept around, and led to a lot of turmoil, conflict, violations, scandals. Everyone deserves grace. But yeah, there's a lot of anecdotes I'm sure will start to trickle out. Obviously, like everything, when winning fixes everything and losing it brings out all the skeletons. So we'll see how it shakes. Wofford here next week in a week from now, noon kickoff. Press conference Tuesday. Maybe news before that. Definitely on vtscoop.com. Great commentary. I appreciate it. Thoughts are definitely a little scattered. Trying to direct everything in a way that is fair, but also true. Crowd looked great in the first half of TV. It really did. I would say up until that first quarter. I mean, I got texts from student hockey club members saying, I've never left a game not until completion. And they left after the first half. I mean, 28-0. You really couldn't see the improvement. I mean, people on the board are saying this is team practice, and I almost wanted to quit back. Like, I don't know, because we don't get to see any of the practice now because it's all closed. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough when you hear that, because they did. So much was made about the whole week. Or is the student section going to show up? Because that could be really rough. And the ODU, I mean, I think a lot of fans traveled from Norfolk, but the student section came. North end zone was sold out. The student section and the east side was sold out. Now, the south end zone was a little scattered. East side tickets were a little scattered, but overall, they showed out and they were rewarded with the same product that they saw against Vanderbilt, and they promptly left. So, complete teardown to save those fans. I think it's really just not if, it's just when at this point. There's a lot of timelines moving way up higher the chain of command. And I think people understand that go into this. And you could I just need to keep emphasizing this cannot happen at a worse time. Everything. I mean, this set things into motion, but honestly, this could not happen. Like, this start to the season is the last thing Virginia Tech, the school, the university, the athletics department, the state of Virginia needed. It could not have happened at a worse time overall. More on that on vtscoop.com, I'm sure, this week, but they really just had to sort of patchwork this thing and try and make it through the start of the season and keep that. And yeah. Why does Pride ever show emotion on the field? Zero fire. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to ask him on Tuesday, I guess. I know people obviously will have issues with him clapping or writing notes. And I mean, a lot of that is, I don't know. At times on the field, you still look a little lost, calling timeouts in different situations, trying to motivate the guys. I mean, it was dead. Like, I went down on the field there at the half, and I mean, when you guys come at, like, I've been on sidelines to different programs at different levels, and you have strengths coach yelling, guys, and I've never at this level seen. I mean, it was honestly apathetic from the players. Like it was just it's like zombie land in a way. It had just 100 guys sort of just zombie walking, infighting among different parents, and obviously people being upset right there in that section. Wasn't a big recruiting weekend. Obviously, a lot's been made of the Pook Rogers thing. We'll talk more about recruiting on the site. Like I said, it's gonna be ugly. Like, and it should be as expected. But yeah, should Virginia Tech fire Witt? Obviously, a lot of discussion out there about this. It's not as simple as just that. Like I said, the timeline for a lot of these people is not when, it's just if. I mean, excuse me, it's not if, it's just when. And it's just things that you have to work out on the back end. And there's increasing pressure, and a result like this will squeeze it even more. But it's just the time. And make more sense of this in writing on VT Scoop. Hopefully no one puts a hit out on me tonight. But the timeline going way up. I mean, this is going to wake up a lot of people. It's already woken up a lot of people in big decision places. But yeah, I don't know. Funding is a massive, massive question with all that. Recruiting will come around with the right GM and new coach later in place. Don't worry about recruiting in the present. Yeah, I mean, definitely, because you're not going to be able to worry about recruiting in the present. You've seen how the class was this year already with Pride coming in as a lame duck, Witt already as a lame duck. You saw how that worked out. Coaches are obviously already been recruiting against Fry. He's going to get fired, all this. So, yeah, that's why this year's class has already been a massive, massive disappointment. And that'll only get worse. You'll only see more decommits. I think they've done a good job with the staff they have right now and some late senior evals. I mean, they had a kid committed to ODU. I think it's a really, really great player in the state of Virginia and should be a take at a lot of Power 4 programs, who's committed to ODU here on a visit today. And then you go and lose to ODU. You're down 28-0 at the half. And it goes through your head, why would I commit here? I don't know who my coach is going to be. It looks like Ronnie. This was a really big year for Ricky Ronnie. You go out there and do that, probably compete in the Sun Belt. Just a lot of unknowns at Virginia Tech. It's hard to commit to that. Hard to find that next quarterback. That's so paramount to get a program back on. You want to talk so much. And a lot will be made about the importance of the athletic director, let alone the head coach, let alone the president of the university, let alone then going down to the offensive coordinator. But you have to find that game changer at quarterback. Look at Oklahoma. You talk about Arbuckle and Mateer. Look at Tennessee. I think I even talked about this in the last one. You bring in Heupel and Danny White together. It's just the timeline. I don't know. It'll be a lot. It feels like we hit rock bottom, but I don't want to hear it can get worse. Yeah, well, tell that to Florida State. And now they've had a great turnaround last year, but Florida State, you don't think you lose that game and then you finish the year 2-10. You think after you lose to ODU, it can be over. But, you do have Wofford next week, and I think a lot of people are going to look past that. And you can't look past anything at this point. But then you get into ACC play, and you can say what you want about NC State's defense. I think Virginia had close to 700 yards today on offense. So you can always go deeper. Do you think this bottom is better or worse from Fuente? If you're comparing the Fuente tenure, 16-23. I know inherited a lot, a broken system from Fuente, but when Pride came in, he got a lot more resources, funding, allocations, and a lot in the high school relations, and recruiting was broken. A lot had to be fixed. But 16-23. First time head coach. 16-23. It's tough. It's performance-based. It's performance-based, just spitballing. As a current junior at Tech, is my football experience here cooked? It's not looking overly promising. So I guess your sophomore year or your freshman year would have been the Military Bowl win. So you come in sort of on the uptick. And then last year, You have all that returning production, and you lay an egg in a lot of one-score games. And you saw how different last year could have gone. And obviously in the Military Bowl, you lose. And then this year, there's so much overturn through the portal. And you think this is the team with so much depth. And Price said, we think we've done so many good things. And then it falls back, and it's like, man, the offensive line is just the one place we couldn't get that depth. Through 4 years, 3 offensive line coaches, same chief of staff, making a lot of decisions there. We'll see. Like I said, this timeline can make a lot of decisions that want to be made not be able to get made for a month, a year. The timeline is not on the side of the university, the government in Virginia. So we'll see. It's not looking promising. Hate to say that, but what would you do now? The monetary aspect and the timeline is not ideal. You go all the way up to administration. Tim Sands, 67 years old, been serving as over a decade as the president. Witt's been on for over a decade as AD. You have his buyout situation fully guaranteed through, 29 when he signed that extension? You got prize buyout. You got a governor election or a governor race in November that can change a lot with the Board of Visitors. I don't know. That's what I said. I'm not qualified, and I know a lot of people who are watching this and in bad spots, and I'm maybe not talking in the best light right now, are going to hold that against me. It's like, what do you know? It's like, well, I don't really know much, but I can point out and see when things aren't right. And yeah, there's just some things that aren't right, and the timeline's tough to make those changes to try and correct the course. No intensity, no physicality, no identity. True, true, and true. Pretty much that. No question in there, just a statement. They didn't come out intense. They got out physicaled by ODU pretty much at every level. What is the identity? Nothing you can really hang your hat on. If fired and we have a mass exodus of players, do we have the money to even be remotely competitive no matter the new hire? You can do more with less. There's always going to be a way. If you have the right people in place, you always have a chance. You can have the most money and the wrong people in place, and I think you take the other odds. It's always like, oh, well, hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. Well, you got to have the combo of the two. But you have to get it right in that situation. And like I said, the funding's going to be really difficult here moving forward over the next couple of years. And it could not, like I said, I've brought up a lot about timelines, dance around a lot of things, but like even beyond all that, then you talk about conference realignment and future TV contracts coming up here in 27 and 28 in those discussions, let alone aside everything else just internal to Virginia Tech. It's just really, really poor foresight from the people currently involved. That's really just put them in a bad spot as it's completely evolving. Anthony Romano, there we go, man. Shout out. Missing you here in the New River Valley region. One of the best ever over on WDBJ. Have to imagine more guys are going to start making business decisions on a team clearly going nowhere. Saying the quiet part out loud. Saying the quiet part out loud, Anthony. It's going to – there's already – yep. Hit the nail on the head right there with that one. Not saying you saw it on the field tonight, but there are different plays, and there's just some things. There's a lot of frustration. I mean, I'm seeing my phone. I have it propped up right here. A lot of frustration. A lot of frustration from people, and at some point, you only say things so much until you act on it, and I think a lot of people are at their breaking point. So have all the scoops for you over on VT Scoop. Bringing in 30 transfers from not good programs is a recipe for disaster. I think this year is a case of that. I mean, you look at West Virginia. They brought in, 70 guys, UNC. Like, there's different ways to do it. Florida State's lived and died by the portal. They've had extreme success and also extreme droughts. You have to do like high school recruiting is always going to be the lifeblood. But man, when there's so much instability coming from Fuente, and specifically Virginia Tech's case, and then Pride comes in and it's been up and down, 3-8, 7-6, and then you follow that up with 6-7, and then you start this season the way it has been. Yeah, the portal. It's you have 105 guys all playing for the same goal. And that's hard. And once you lose that, you lose to ODU. And like I said, take nothing away from ODU and all respect to everyone who's involved. Like, it's not for a lack of effort. Like, people are trying. It's hard to win. I understand that. But this is a performance-based deal. There's a lot of other outlets where it's not performance-based, but it is. And, yeah. At what point does Pop play? Obviously, a massive, massive point that's been brought up with Kyron Jones really struggling. They go down and they have that first drive to try and potentially match. He fumbles. Interception. It's been a struggle. I mean, there at the end, obviously, a couple stat pads to make the final score look a little bit closer. Made a couple nice throws. Like, you see the flashes physically, man. Height, weight, speed. He has all the tools to be a really, really effective power forward quarterback. He just can't put it together. So I'm not sure. Didn't see Pop warming up at any time on the sideline. But, I mean, nothing's out of the equation at this point. If VT loses to Wofford, do you see them winning any games this season? I mean, if they lose to Wofford, realistically, no. It's just the way it is. Are there any other P4 teams going through a similar slide at this moment? I mean, off the top of my head, I was just watching the Stanford game. I don't know what they're doing to BC right now. I think it's semi-close. I think they're in a really tough spot alignment-wise, but at least you have Andrew Luck there sort of tying it all together. You look at UCLA, just lost last night to New Mexico. So, I mean, it's going on, but it's a really tough spot. They don't fire Babcock. We'll get a third terrible hire. Also, Young, Sapar. Well, we'll see. I think basketball season could be the saving grace for a little bit. Obviously, getting Neo is a big play. And I don't see Witt making a third hire. But, I mean, the timeline and how they're going to shake that all out is going to be tough. Has there been any rumblings on what Tim Sands thinks at this point? I mean, I think this goes even a little bit above Tim Sands and what people are thinking. Appreciate it, man. Got a lot of people in the DMs not, but I appreciate you. Do you see Pryor lasting the rest of the season? I think tonight was really challenging for that. I don't know what's going to shake out this week. There's a lot to play out. I know buyout figures and things, but it's hard. 28-0. I mean, I know you talked to the guys after, but it's hard. People see it, checking out, just so. Fuente ran the team into the ground and probably lit it on fire. I think a lot of this works up the chain of command. Fuente's obviously before my time, but yeah, I mean, there was some administration stuff with him that, I mean, even honestly, both that it's really hard to succeed when you have your hands tied at certain times from way up the chain. So, from 0 to 10, how worried should we be about the finances of the athletic department as a whole? I don't know. It's like you go to the doctor, it's like, how much pain are you in? 7? I'd say 7. Lucky number 7. What do you mean it goes over the board and Sands? There's people who obviously elect members to the board who have a vested interest in the state, who obviously are trying to make some things happen. So, yeah. Timeline do you see VT becoming competitive again potentially? I mean, at this point, 2 to 3 years. This season's obviously already on the trajectory it is. Next year, I mean, all really comes down to a quarterback and if you can get the right alignment. Just haven't seen that. Another, yeah, injury redshirt. Like I said, that was sort of brought up by some other people. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see some people making business decisions. As of right now, I would say Pop, but like I said, anything's really on the table. I think they're still going to roll with Kyron. I think they're still going to roll with him next week into Wofford. And we'll see. Like I said, this is a big night in Virginia Tech history just in general because it's going to have lasting ramifications beyond me, beyond anyone. So I'm 21, but I appreciate it. You know, we're working on it every day, so I appreciate it. Is JC the interim if Pride goes, or would it be Montgomery? Uh, like I said, that's speculation. I would probably presume JC Price at this point, but yeah, we'll see. Don't know if you can say, but has Belen. I mean, especially as of late, like I won't get on a lot of other stuff. A lot's been obviously made of this, especially like right now, pretty hands off. Like pretty widely regarded that he's sort of checking out. His looks like that's really winding down, about to retire, move on to the next phase. So as of right now, in this current status, I don't think he's had the massive hand in it. Mine should be interim, keeps relations strong. Yeah, I think that's really big, and a lot of people have brought that up. Um, Nothing is definite. Like nothing would surprise me. I know I sort of rambled, just trying to go through the comments there. Hopefully, got some info out there. Probably annoyed a lot of people high up the chain, but just calling it like I see it. Appreciate everyone's feedback. Trying to grow every day myself. Trying to perform myself, and I should also be kept held accountable. So appreciate everyone. Going to have some content. Going to try and dump some interviews. Like I said, I got my family in town. 12:30. I'm going to run out of here and try and catch up with them. But really appreciate the support. Everyone jumping in here. I know not on the best pretense that everyone's here, but really, really does mean a lot. My Yaya is watching live. She just texted me. So it really does mean a lot. I really appreciate it, y'all. Safe trip home. If you guys are in the Blacksburg area, going back home, enjoy the rest of your week. And like I said, you get so fixated and lost in the moment right now. But this week has shown everyone take care of one another, think about one another, look to the person beside you. It doesn't matter if they're wearing Hudson blue or maroon and orange, that just take care and look after one another. So have a good night, everyone. Going to have some stuff this week. So appreciate it and God bless. See y'all.